Roll Tide, everybody. And we are here today live. Instead of throwing one up at 5 this morning, we decided to get together with you guys here and talk about what's going on in the world of Alabama. So we'll talk a lot of basketball today. I know everyone's fired up about the NCAA tournament, Bama blowing out Kentucky yesterday. And then we'll get into some recruiting, some Alabama football. Spring practice is about to get started again after spring break. So I got the catfish driving, but I'm driving the show. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, brought to you by our friends at Pearl River Resort. Rise and shine, and everybody be safe today, man. Good God, we got some bad weather coming. But just listen to James Spann, and I'm sure he's going to lead us all to safety. All right, here we go. All right, there he is, Mr. Catfish, Chad Anderson. I'm Mick Gillespie. What a win yesterday for Bama. First tournament game against Kentucky. First time ever Bama's beaten Kentucky 3 times, and it's not a bad Kentucky team. I mean, they're ranked, but they blew them out. You were there courtside. What was the scene like?
Think about it, Mick. Not only did they beat them 3 times, but Kentucky, just a few days ago in Joe Lunardi's bracketology, they were the number 1 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. So Alabama just took the 9th best team from a tournament selection perspective and beat them by 29. It was unbelievable. And it was one of those games like, you know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in a row? Like, that's really hard in one season to beat a team 3 times. And this isn't a bad Kentucky team, like you said. So for Alabama to go out and have the most dominating performance of the 3 games in the SEC tournament, they broke all kinds of records last night. Alabama snapped a 42, it was a 42-year, 12-game losing streak to Kentucky in the SEC tournament.
Really?
They beat Kentucky 3 times in the same season for the first time in program history. They beat Kentucky by 29, which is the largest defeat over the Wildcats in program history. And they also were one of only, I think, 3 teams total who have ever scored 90-plus against Kentucky 3 times in a season.
Wow.
They wrapped it up last night, man. And really, if you look at it, Bama was up 7 at halftime, but they shot 2 of 13 from the field, or from 3-point range in the first half. So the fact that they scored 45, had a 7-point lead, and only made 2 threes in the first half, he kind of knew at halftime, like, a few shots start dropping, this thing's going to get really ugly really fast. And that's what happened second half.
Yeah. Well, LeBaron Philon was great. I mean, he was like knifing to the basket. I mean, he was attacking. Every time you turn around, the guy was making a play.
Yeah. I mean, whether offensively or defensively, like he was all over the floor. He was doing an amazing job. He actually could end up being, he's the favorite to be Alabama's highest draft pick out of this team. And some people may be surprised by that because, he hasn't always started. There was a stretch during the year where he came off the bench, but Philon is loved by the NBA scouts, and we'll see if he ends up, after the next few weeks, if he decides to head to the draft or if he's going to stick around. But he is that talented, very good.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's kind of the thing that when you talk about these basketball teams anymore, I mean, you don't know what the future is. The future's now for Alabama, right? Because you got Grant Nelson and you got Mark Sears. We wondered how they would bounce back after losing that game to Florida. They beat Auburn on the road, and then they crushed Kentucky, but they've got a rematch against the Gators today, and you feel like the Gators might be the best team in the country.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to switch microphones here.
Do it. Switch microphones.
There you go. Make sure you can still hear me okay. Perfect. I think the Gators are actually the best team in the conference. If you look at what they've done, going on the road to beat Alabama on the road to beat Auburn. Finished second to the Tigers. They had a couple of slip-ups, one at home against Missouri. That was earlier in the year. First game of the year in conference play, lost at Kentucky by a few points. Lost on the road at Georgia. They had their slips. They ended up with 4 conference losses, but they are so talented. Like with Phylon, and I don't know. The battle of the point guards is going to be something today. They're bigs. They're just huge. You think Alabama's big and long when it comes to having a presence on the court? These Florida guys, they play unbelievable defense. They're really stepped up. And I don't know. I just look at the way they play and all the different elements that they have and the way they can shoot it and how their bigs can shoot. And I just like them better than Auburn. And maybe Auburn at their best is slightly better. But I think right now, today, Florida's the best team in the SEC.
Bob Roll Tide, Jeff Roll Tide, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And as you kick it on this Saturday live, I guess it's almost like a pregame show. Yeah. He's on the way to watch the basketball games. Were the Kentucky fans selling their tickets for cheap after they took that shellacking?
So here's the funny thing with Kentucky fans. You actually have to give them a lot of credit. They are just basketball junkies is what they are. Just basketball junkies. And a lot of them, I don't know how often you'll get to see it on TV today, panning the arena. A lot of them will be here today.
Right.
Even though they got smoked last night, they kind of make this weekend just an entire weekend. They're not all right, we're going to go until we lose and then go home. Like, I live locally. I wouldn't be going today if it was Kentucky and Florida and it was Auburn and Tennessee. I'd be at home. They're coming in from all over. So they actually weren't selling many tickets last night after the game. Yeah, their fans are pretty insufferable, though. Like, they're pretty insufferable. Like, they're everywhere, and they're almost like LSU football fans, but the basketball version, but a little classier than that,
Right.
So they're funny, but one guy was all upset about the officials last night after the game, and finally, a couple of people in the section were just like, dude, 29 points ain't the officials. Like, you're just getting pounded. That's all it is. So, yeah, but they actually are fine. They're just, they love their cats. They're loud. But they didn't have much to cheer for last night.
So we get the matchup that we wanted, right? I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. Auburn against Tennessee, Bama against Florida. Today is as good.
I would have rather Missouri.
What's that?
I would have rather played Missouri today, but yeah.
But I'm saying, as far as fans go, I mean, like, this is significant because, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in tournament? But if the SEC's as good as everyone says, we're saying maybe they get 14 teams in. What if this could be a tougher field than the Final Four? And the SEC's using NIL money for these basketball teams. They have more talent than anybody else. Kind of feels like football a few years ago. We'll see what happens in the tournament, but in the NCAA tournament. But still, I think this is what everybody wanted to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part where it's like, this is a grind. And Alabama honestly got the bad end of the draw. And I don't mean that because they played Kentucky. I mean that because Alabama, you realize, Mick, 11 games were played in the SEC tournament before Alabama played in the SEC tournament. And if Alabama was to win today and they'll play tomorrow, then Alabama would not have played in the first 11 games, but they would have played in 3 of the final 4 SEC games that are played in the tournament. And the problem with that is more about, when I talk about the draw, is the legs and the endurance and the stamina and how tough these teams are and these games are. Because you got the top 4. There were no upsets getting into the semifinals. So Alabama finished last night. We left the arena around 11:30 or so. Well, the players probably didn't get back to the hotel till 12:30, 1 o'clock, in bed by 1:30 or 2. And you got to turn around and play at 2:30 today. Like, you're playing 12 hours later after you go to bed against the number, 2, 3, 4 team in the country.
Right.
And then if you win that, you got to turn around and play in less than 24 hours again for the SEC championship. Oh, by the way, it could be against the consensus overall number 1 seed, the Auburn Tigers. So, and that's your rival.
Man, can you imagine that? The third installment being Alabama and Auburn in the SEC championship game.
It would be wild.
Are there a lot of bugs in Nashville?
Yeah, I saw a handful last night. Didn't see a lot, but of course they weren't playing in the same session. They had already beaten Ole Miss earlier in the day. So we'll see. I'm sure there's plenty, that especially this year. That Auburn fans traveled quite a bit this year whenever they went on the road. Nashville's not a far trek at all. I mean, it's only 2.5, 3 hours from Birmingham. So I'm sure they'll be out in full force today.
Yeah. Well, they play first. You're going to that one.
Yeah.
And then Bama plays at a more respectable 3:30 Central Time, or 3 o'clock. Is it 3:30 or 3 o'clock Central?
But it's 25 minutes after the first game ends. So it's, theoretically set for 2:30-ish. But we all know the games go longer than 2 hours now. So it'll probably be more like a 2:45 or so tip-off for Alabama Central Time.
Yeah. How did you feel about Nate Oates' use of the bench?
Well, in what regard? I just letting guys get in at the end, or just cycling through during the game? Or
hey, I'm not talking about that, but hell, it was great seeing the walk-ons in with 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah, Charnosky, baby.
I know you love that.
Yeah. No, I mean, Bama's been doing that all year. It was nice to see Darion Reed back in the lineup. He got on the bench. Yeah, so that was great seeing him come back, because Alabama can really use that depth. What I've noticed, and I don't know this, but it's just something that I've seen and kind of wonder, is Alabama has, with their bigs, like with Amori, with Nelson, Stevenson, Diabate, Sherrill, and now Reed. Like, all those guys I just named, that's a lot of bodies. Alabama, to me, has ramped it up defensively. Just a month ago, the Tide was top 40 in the Ken Palm defensive efficiency. And a lot of people give Alabama crap about their defense because they give up a bunch of points, but they score a bunch of points. But their efficiency was top 40. Well, now the efficiency is number 26 in the country. Alabama's defense keeps improving. I feel like Alabama has turned into a more aggressive defensive team. It seems like there's more effort. They're more physical. They're going after players. And the reason I say that, and it kind of makes sense, is if they do all that and they're getting these guys coming off the bench, well, you can cycle through. Yeah. Like last night, Amori had a couple of fouls early. Fine. He comes off the bench. Diabate, Sherrill, they go in. Grant Nelson had 2 fouls in the first half. He gets cycled out. Somebody else comes in. The line changed, like a hockey term there. Stevenson came in, picked up 4 fouls. Sherrill ended up fouling out, but there was never a drop-off. And I think that a lot of times you get very cautious because you're like, oh, my God, I just lost my starter to foul trouble. Yeah. But if you've got guys coming off the bench who give, some quality minutes, then it doesn't matter. Go be aggressive and, make the officials make the call, because we got a guy up next. If you get in foul trouble, we'll put him in. And if he gets in trouble, we'll put you back in. Bama's running 10 deep, which is a big problem for all the opponents going down the stretch.
Yeah. Roll Tide, Brian, thanks for joining us, man. And you guys that are here, man, like, subscribe, thumbs up. That's a way of basically saying Roll Tide. Now, I want to show you this cat. I'm going to show the rest of you guys this as well.
Let's see it.
So this, no, I don't have a heart. These are our new line of hats, and this is the Big Elmo, because he used to wear the black.
Oh yeah,
that's the Mick. That's the Mick right there. The Coker isn't in yet, but it's this hat with the gray and black camouflage, and then this is the Raleigh green with the the duck camo. We got these. We're giving away for comments in the comment section. Southern Red, great to see you too. Roll Tide. And we also got some of these calendars. So we're giving calendars away, and you got to be a subscriber, like, subscribe, thumbs up, and comment. Sharing even puts you at the top of the list. So apparently we just lost the cat for a minute. But anyway, you guys take advantage of that, and thank you for being here as we get ready for Alabama basketball. He's going to the arena right now, so he's going to be there for the first game, and we'll pop back in with him when he's there. But anyway, all right, well, let's kind of just continue the conversation about last night's game and just kind of draw that into what to expect today and how significant this is. Chad hasn't been one of these guys that thinks that we have to be a number one seed to win the national championship. He'd prefer us to have the better draw. And so, winning the tournament, Bama would definitely be a number one, but what number one would they be, or where would they end up? I think that's a question. But to win the tournament, they're going to have to go through. There he is. He's back. I'll put him up here. To win the tournament, they're going to have to, they're going to have to beat Florida, and then they're going to have to beat either Tennessee or Auburn. I mean, so you're talking about this gauntlet really started. I mean, it's like every game's been tough for these guys, for the last 8. And I was telling them that you don't necessarily feel like we need to be a number one seed, even though we will be if we win the tournament.
Well, I actually think today is for a number one seed, honestly. I think the winner of this game, Florida's currently the 4th number one seed, and Alabama is the 1st number 2 seed. So I think that today you're going to see the winner lock up the 1 seed. No matter what happens tomorrow, I think today the winner gets the 1 seed. And my point is, if you're the 4th 1 seed, your Sweet Six, the way they do the pod system is Bama's going to be somewhat close to home. Florida's going to be somewhat close to home. Raleigh is the closest for Alabama. Lexington would be up next probably for Alabama. Then I've seen some where they go to Cleveland. But to me, I wouldn't want to be the 4th number 1 seed. The reason for that is your Sweet 16 and Elite 8 matchups, you get shipped out to San Francisco. And let's all be honest, Mick, how many Alabama basketball fans, already not enough of those, how many of them are going to end up in a spot where they go to San Francisco and then turn around and go to San Antonio?
Right.
They're all going to wait and hope that you win in San Francisco, go to San Antonio. Then you end up playing a team, out in San Francisco, like you run into a BYU or an Arizona or something like that, where the team is, much closer regionally. And now all of a sudden you've got a disadvantage and you're far away from home, the whole deal. I guess the only argument to that is you could say this Alabama team plays better on the road than they do at home sometimes.
Right.
They do a great job on the road. They embrace it, is what Nate Oates says.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, they were almost 38% from 3. And I feel like when they do that, they're really tough to beat, right? 11 of 29. And they started out slow from beyond the arc. Sears only had 1 of 8 from 3, but he ended up with really, I mean, when you look at it, not a great night shooting. 5 of 17 from the floor, 13 points. But because it takes so much effort to watch him, as long as someone else pops off like Phylon did yesterday, Youngblood's another one of those guys that has that potential. It kind of puts, Alabama in a place where you don't have to have all the scoring from Sears to be successful.
You don't. That's the thing with the talent and how deep they are and how everybody can shoot. That's the big deal. Alabama's just able to simply spread the love. I think it was good too to see Holloway get a couple of baskets later in the game, because he had kind of slipped a little bit. So just kind of seeing him get back on track, that was big. And same for Chris Youngblood. He hit 1 or 2 threes last night, was kind of cold for a moment. So that was the better part of the second half, was using those minutes to get guys kind of back in their groove and see some shots go in.
Yeah, no doubt. Southern Red says, I remember when Bama used to be better on the road at football. I'd love to see that again. Yeah, Sears has to work really hard for his shots. I do agree with that. If I think Bama scored 99 points and they missed a bunch of layups in that game too.
Yeah, I mean they could have scored even more, but I mean the first half is what I point to. First half, they again 2 of 13 from 3-point range. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? You know, when you're Alabama. So 2 of 13 from 3, and yeah, it could have been a whole lot uglier, which is crazy to say when you beat Kentucky by 29 and say it could have been worse.
Yeah, right. So what are you looking at right now as far as today's game against Florida? I mean, how do you feel like they match up against us? I know they were much better inside and in rebounding the last time we saw them.
That's where the depth is going to come into play tonight, and I think that may have been why Darion Reed got in the game last night, was to dust the rust off, get some quality minutes, just get back, try to get in the groove a little bit, because Bama's going to need him today. Bama's going to need him bad today. They're in a spot where Florida, they're just huge, they're massive. And so they've got to figure out how to get, how to protect the rim. They got to figure out how to rebound. Florida did a nice job out rebounding Alabama last time in Tuscaloosa. So all of those things, man. And they're going to have to knock down shots. Driving against Florida is not easy because the bigs don't have to leave their feet.
Right.
So you drive into the lane, they know you're going to kick it out. And they welcome Mark Sears to challenge the bigs. They welcome LeBaron Philon to try to go in there, just because they got athletes everywhere. So Bama's going to have to knock down the outside shot today to stretch the Florida defense. Otherwise, Bama's not going to get as many of those twos by the basket like they're used to.
Yeah, well, it'd be great to see them be able to get off to a quick start shooting, because I feel like when they get off to a good start, this team's normally pretty consistent.
Well, that's what happened last night. They didn't fall behind 9-0 like they did against Auburn, or whatever it was against Missouri that was awful. They did fine. So that was a thing. They never let the Kentucky crowd really get going or kind of influence anything.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I see you're there. What time's your what's that?
We got to go hit your place up. You love Puckett's. We got to go hit up Puckett's downtown.
Gonna have a coldie in there?
Yeah.
That's right. You don't drink.
I don't drink, but I'll have a hell of a sparkling water.
Have a safe day, man. Hopefully the storms don't affect the
everybody stay safe. Nashville appears to be all right. We're just going to get some rain and thunder and stuff for the most part. It seems like, but Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, North Alabama, West Alabama, especially, everybody be safe today.
All right. Well, before you get out of here, let me throw this up on the screen for you, because I think everybody needs a little education on the mortgage dad, Chad.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing it last night, in the last 6 weeks to help people consolidate their debt. We've done over $1 million in home equity lines of credit, and people are getting their credit cards from 29%, 25%, 30%. All those things are going away, and we're getting them into home equity lines where they're using their equity to get rid of that nasty credit card debt. So that's been one thing. We've helped a couple of other people literally come to the closing table, buy a house with no money out of pocket. Literally, they just got the keys. So it's possible. Best thing, scan the QR code there on the screen or reach out. Those are my numbers there, email, website, chadwickanderson.com, and we can check it out for you.
Awesome, man. Are you going to be on with us tomorrow, 5:00? I'm at Pearl River with Bo Bounds, our buddy Bo Bounds, for the bracket show. Wouldn't it be great if Bama wins today, wins tomorrow, and then that goes right into our
That'd be a good segue.
Show?
Big segue. Yeah.
Hell of a segue.
Yeah.
But at Pearl River, you got any bets you want me to make for you while I'm there in Vegas?
I like Houston in the Final Four.
Do you?
Yeah, I really like Houston. Which is bad for me to say because Bama's in Houston's bracket right now. in bracketology. But yeah, Houston, man, I really like them. The Cougars are good. So they've kind of always been right there, but never finished it. I think this could be a year that they actually sneak in. Everybody's looking at Duke and Auburn, and I think this could be a year that Houston grabs it.
Duke, don't count Duke in. Don't count.
Well,
Duke.
we got to see what Cooper Flagg's doing. I mean,
He's hurt.
Well, yeah, we got to see how that looks next week.
I don't know. All right, well, have a great day, man. Roll Tide.
See you guys. Roll Tide.
Hey, guys, and again, like he said, we're going to be at Pearl River Resort tomorrow. We're going to do a show live, 5 o'clock, bracketology show. We're going to break down the bracket, talk about where Alabama is, what things look like as far as that goes. If you want these, and I know some of you guys are saying you like the gear. Yeah, and it is sunny right now. I'm about to take a walk down here in LA. But if you like these, got this one here, and then we'll have another one. I'm giving them away with these calendars right now. Like, subscribe, be part of our channel, share with your friends, comment, just being part of the community. These hats are for you guys. You should have seen Coker yesterday when he got his. We did Elephant in the Room on Cover Crimson, and it was like a kid at Christmas. He couldn't decide which hat he was going to wear. It was like he was studying for an exam. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. And don't forget, we are brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. We're going to be there tomorrow. You guys, if it's close, come by. Hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. But we'll be there in the Timeout Sports Lounge doing the show. Cat will be in Nashville, but he's going to the game if we're there. But I'll be in Pearl River, and that's where we're going to be tomorrow when we break down the bracket, see where Bama is. This is, how many years did we not have a chance in these tournaments? And I mean, how many times did you guys get your bracket and Bama was like where Texas is this year, where they're the team that's got to win a bunch of games to get in? And then you're like, well, if we just win this one, if we just win that one, and then we win a couple, but they still keep us out, and we're in the NIT. Oh, we're a 1 seed in the NIT. Who cares about that, right? We're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. This is the golden age of Bama basketball. So we got to support them. And look, maybe if we win, I might pop on and do another live show with you guys later tonight. So just because we probably won't have anything in the morning. So fingers crossed there. But again, thank you guys for hanging out. Good to see all of you guys here. And from the bottom of my heart, guys, be really careful today. Listen to the weather. Watch the weather, pay attention to it. If you're looking at the map and you see that purple, almost like it goes from red to purple and it's near your house, that's normally a sign that you're kind of in that area where it could be dangerous. So just know that, be cognizant of it, pay attention because, these storms are for real. It's going to be a tough day on that, but safety to all you guys. Roll Tide to you guys. Love you. Thank you for being here. And again, I'll talk to you tomorrow.